Republican lawmakers there basically having a sit-in because they're demanding transparency to this whole impeachment process. Let's bring in Stephanie Grisham. She, of course, is the White House press secretary and communications director. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So what do you think about how it all played out yesterday?
I'm glad they did it. You know, again, these Dems have been doing everything behind closed doors and in secret. And so it's about time that somebody made a very bold stand, which is, I guess, a sit-in, which is what they did. And it was great. And the point was well taken. And I think that because now I'm hearing the Dems have agreed in 3 weeks that they're going to open these up to the public. I don't know why they don't do it starting now. It seems like it's working. They know they're wrong. They know everything they're doing is just for show.
Stephanie, what was the president's reaction? Because in that interview with Sean Hannity, he said, I want Republicans to be stronger. I want them to fight for me. This sends a clear message that they're behind him.
Oh, absolutely. I think this showed full support for the president. And he was working yesterday. You know, he traveled out to Pennsylvania to give a speech. So he's still working amongst all this craziness. But he was happy to see it happen. He was very supportive of it, as he should be.
A couple of things. The president yesterday called the Never-Trumpers scum. Does he regret that?
No, he shouldn't. The people who are against him and who have been against him and working against him since the day they took office are just that. It is horrible that people are working against a president who's delivering results for this country and has been since day one. And the fact that people continue to try to negate anything that he's doing and take away from the good work he's doing on behalf of the American people, they deserve strong language like that.
Just to build on that, so there's a story in the New York Times today that it looks like the deep state has turned on the president. Maybe the intelligence community is paying him back, as Senator Schumer famously said 2 years ago, when you take them on. Does the president feel as though the intel community has turned on him?
You know, the president has said there are some very, very good people in the intel community. But also he has made no secret since, again, the day he took office that this has been a witch hunt against him. And there are some really terrible people in the deep state working against him and working against this country. This is dangerous for the country. And I'm actually glad the New York Times has taken on something actually positive and true for once. So I'm glad to see that they're acknowledging that the president has people working actively against him in his own government. And I just want to talk to the people of this country and let them know that that's dangerous for them. He is out there working on behalf of them and trying to do the best to make their lives better, and this is the kind of thing he's fighting all the while.
Stephanie, let's shift gears to global affairs. The president obviously had a big announcement yesterday, as you know, at the White House, where he talked about lifting sanctions against Turkey because he believes this ceasefire is going to hold in Syria. You know, the president's critics, some in his own party, like Lindsey Graham, are still a little bit skeptical of that. Why did he use, the president, the word permanent to describe the ceasefire when others are saying it may not be so permanent?
Well, because we got a letter yesterday morning from them, from Turkey, saying that they would agree to cease fire permanently. Now, what permanent means, and the president said this yesterday, what permanent means in that part of the world is to be determined. But they have given us their word, and so we will lift sanctions. Now, if they go back on their word, the president will absolutely reimpose those sanctions. He mentioned yesterday, we are the biggest economic power in this world, and that is because of President Trump. And he will use diplomatic and sanction areas to try and stop people from doing anything harmful to the world and to this country.
Admiral Stavridis, who is former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO, said with this agreement, the winners are Iran, Russia, ISIS, and Assad. What's your reaction?
I would disagree with that. The winners are the American troops who get to come home. There was nobody injured, nobody died. The American troops are coming home, so the American people. Some of them will be going to Iraq, sure. Some people will have to go to all over parts of the world. But in that part of the region, no troops were injured. The president kept to his word, as when he was running for election, and he pulled them out. When people are going across the country and in this world as military, of course they put their lives on the line. The president has said before, he talks to families. He has to go to greet coffins that they come in. It's horrible. But the military, they're strong. They know that this is a risk that they take. In this part of the world with Syria, this was positive.
They were preventing another 9/11, though.
Stephanie, what's happening with the USMCA? The president was calling out the do-nothing Democrats for dragging their feet.
Well, yeah, they're so focused on impeachment and doing things behind closed doors that they aren't working on anything else. We're hopeful that USMCA can still go forward. We're hopeful that work can be done on behalf of this country, but we'll have to see what happens.
Stephanie, I know you worked with the First Lady and still do. Obviously, as I said, Brian. Yesterday was the one-year anniversary of the Support Act. The First Lady made kind of her first solo voyage up to Capitol Hill to talk about that and other issues. Take us inside the room about how it all played out.
Yeah, absolutely. She went up to the Hill with members of the administration, with Kellyanne Conway, with Jim Carroll from ONDCP, and then with Secretary Azar, and they gave a presentation on how, you know, things have looked over the year and all the work the administration has done on opioid abuse and the successes we've had. They also spoke with lawmakers about legislation in their own states and how things are working and how things aren't working. And Mrs. Trump is encouraging people in other states to go back, lawmakers, and do all they can to fight the opioid epidemic, because I think the administration is really starting to break through here, and we're really starting to save lives, and she wants to continue with that.
Wow. And just finally, Lindsey Graham, who's going to be over the White House today, I think, says this: what's missing in the impeachment push is a coordinated effort to put somebody in charge of developing a message and delivering it. I think that has to be corrected. You're doing the best you can. Hogan and others doing the best you can. But could you use some help?
You know, I think we could use some help from the Democrats, and if we could see what it is we're trying to fight, we would be able to message it a little better. It's hard to message anything that's going on behind closed doors and in secret. It's like you're fighting a ghost. You're fighting against the air. So we're doing the best we can. Honestly, messaging isn't that hard. There was no quid pro quo. The president did nothing wrong. He continues to work on behalf of this country, full stop.
All right, Stephanie Grisham, who works for the president and the First Lady.
I know. I just wanted to correct you before Stephanie corrected you.
I didn't finish my sentence.
I wouldn't have corrected anything. No way.
Thank you. Stephanie,
right.
I appreciate Stephanie saying that. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you.